Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Rickey Hampton, along with my co-hosts Tree McDougal and Tim Turner, coming to you on a Tuesday evening. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It's so good to see you, Tree and Tim. Hey, we're gonna get right to it because we got a lot going on in the world of sports and beyond. Because I mean, this is what we like to do on this show: is look at the world of sports and its impact on our culture and society. And then we definitely got some of that going on right now, Tim.
Oh yeah, we do, and there are positive things and there's some really negative things that are out there. But I guess we want to start off with the positive thing. When we have a teenager who has won the U.S. Open Tennis Championship, Coco Gauff, Atlanta lady, and she knocked off Sabalenka. Looked like from the first set she was doomed, but she righted herself in the second set and went on and took it on home. So congratulations to the young lady.
Absolutely. Did you see the video where they showed of images anyway of her when she was a kid, and then juxtapose that with her winning? I don't know if you guys had a chance to see that, but it's really this. She might have been like 13 at the time, and now she's 19 and a champion. And so it was such an emotional ending, and how she talked about her dad and her dad crying, and he was like, no, don't do that. But it was congratulations to her. And it was a great day for her for sure.
Yeah, and she is one of the first offspring from Venus and Serena.
Yeah.
She looked up to those two young ladies when she was growing up. They were her inspiration. And I see a lot of a young Venus in her game, man, because she can get to everything. She's kind of long like Venus was.
Yeah.
And when she was going, it was like, you got to hit 3 winners to maybe get 1 point in, because she can get to everything and return it.
Some of the images that I saw, it almost looked like I was looking at Venus or Serena, just the way her body moved. And so, very, very happy for her and her family and her team.
Yeah, I saw this graphic that showed the last 4 American women to win the U.S. Open are all African Americans. You got Venus, Serena, Coco, and Madison Keys, I think, or Stevens.
Sloane Stevenson.
Sloane Stevenson. So since 2004,
wow,
those are the only 4 American women who have won the U.S. Open. So they definitely have made an impact on the women's side. They're still waiting on the brothers on their come up as of yet, but
and they're getting a little closer. Tiafo and Shelton had good runs.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
So that was exciting to see, and it was her response to one of the questions, and my friends had been going back and forth on this. Is somebody asked her what was she going to do with the prize money? Is she going to pay off debt? And she's like, I'm a teenager. I don't have debt. I still live at home with my parents. So, but on the side,
yes,
white athletes will never ask what are they going to do with their money ever about anything.
Yeah, I've never heard that question posed to anyone.
They always ask them what you're going to do with the money. It's like, I come back, it's like, none of your business. What I'm going to do with my money.
None
What
of
are you doing with your money? I know that you buying clothes. I'm looking at you.
Hey, think about it. She's still staying at home. That's a hell of a part-time job she has.
I'm telling you. It's like, hey, I got nothing. I got no bills. I'm here at the crib. So,
$3 million first prize to Coco. And I think that's the first of many. She's going to be a force to reckon with in the world of women's tennis.
Well, yeah, Martina Navratilova is a huge fan, as is John McEnroe, because people were trying to crush her about her, saying, well, she has a loop in her serve. And he's like, so what? And she mentioned, he said, Djokovic had a loop in his serve. And I think it served him well over his career. So y'all just nitpicking the kid. But I say this one thing that was Sabalenka. She's a competitor, okay? And I thought it was wrong for whoever went back there and showed the pictures of her, losing it and breaking stuff and slamming her racket and that kind of stuff. I mean, that's a private moment, and that was wrong on every count to go in there and show somebody who is really upset at losing. I mean, if you just take it and said, "Oh well, I lost," and just going about your business, it's one thing. Some people, that's how some people express their
disappointment.
Disappointment.
Yeah.
So for anybody to bring a camera in there and to show that in that moment is wrong, and they should be reprimanded or somehow having some sort of their credentials pulled for the next time or whatever, because that just shouldn't have happened.
I agree with that.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Tim. That she is just a competitor, and she was gracious in losing. That was kind of an awkward interview with her because she was so emotional, but nonetheless, she was gracious, as was Coco to her, because Sabalenka actually moved to number 1 in the world, even with that loss. She's the number 1 tennis player in the world, but man, I think people who do that don't understand the struggle and the time and the sweat equity athletes put in there. Another guy who used to do that was Jack Nicklaus. The rare times he lost a major, say you go in the locker, he was all gracious and everything. You go in the locker room, this dude's throwing his golf shoes around, and I mean he's just letting it vent. But that's what the locker room is for.
Right, yeah, exactly. They can vent in private, supposedly, right? And so I think that they got to be able to release that tension and that emotion. You give them that grace for being able to do that. They don't maybe do it outwardly because people talk about them as they're now doing that with this particular player. But just let them have their peace and handle their loss of their game the way that benefits them. Is what I think.
Yeah, I think I can handle that more though, and maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe it's me, but it could be that the collapsing and weeping on the court when you win. I'm like, you just won. I don't understand tears of joy. I never really had that kind of tears of joy. I understand, being happy and jumping up and down. I never saw Venus Serena, start weeping crazily. But then again, she's a teenager and she just won the most important match of her life. And I can understand that being overwhelming.
And the first one too.
And I think you think about all of the time, you don't know what's going through an athlete's head at that time, but I'm okay with her weeping. I mean, that's how you release that joy or And I think thinking about her parents, know if she's thinking about her mom or dad or ancestors or all of that came out in that moment. If you cry, you cry. It's okay.
Yeah, I think some of the questions too, again, were intrusive because someone asked her, who are you talking to on the phone? Whose business is that of yours? But it was her brother.
Yeah.
She was calling her brother.
I think people want to know. They want to know.
She called him to FaceTime him and he wasn't there. And then he called her back. So that's what that was about. So I'm like, come on, people. Let's I just think sometimes questions are asked of certain athletes that are not asked of other athletes.
I think it's a fair question. Who were you talking to at that exact moment when you won? I don't know. I think that's a good question to ask. And, she could choose not to answer or answer it.
Sure.
But I think I like the fact that it was a family member or brother. It wasn't, And things are different now for the young kids.
Well, I got to say, though, the weekend was not good for everybody.
Not for everybody, no.
No.
Not for everybody.
Not for everybody. But I did go to the Civil Rights Museum, National African American Museum.
Oh, look.
So not all.
Did you get shirts for everyone or just for yourself? You didn't get us shirts? No?
I didn't know y'all sizes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? Hey, but I want to get to this story here in the Metro Detroit area. Michigan State football coach Mel Tucker has been suspended by the university following allegations of sexual harassment. I'm going to play you. This is what broke here in Detroit Sunday morning.
News starts now with the breaking news alert.
Good morning. It's 7 o'clock. I'm Priya Mann.
And I'm Nick Monticelli. That breaking news
this morning is Michigan State University football coach Mel Tucker in the news, accused of sexual misconduct.
USA Today published a report overnight with very specific details of the allegations from a woman who's a rape survivor turned activist.
Now a hearing has been scheduled in October. Michigan State football coach Mel Tucker facing serious allegations after a rape survivor and activist accused him of sexual misconduct. The allegations came to light after USA Today published a lengthy article which identifies the woman. Local 4 is not identifying her until we can talk to her and know for sure she wants to be known publicly. But for context, she's here in a photo with Coach Mel Tucker on the MSU football Instagram page when she was on campus giving a presentation to the football team about sexual violence. She was even named an honorary captain. That's how she and Coach Tucker know each other. And now she's accusing Tucker of an inappropriate phone conversation, alleging he made sexual comments. She filed the Title IX complaint with Michigan State University, and now a hearing has been scheduled for October, according to USA Today.
I apologize. We were having a little technical difficulty with that video, but I still think everybody was able to get the gist of what went down. And she has since gone public. Her name is Brenda Tracy, and Coach Tucker has pushed back, saying that they had a consensual relationship, and the allegations of phone sex, he said was mutual. He said it was a mutual act, and she says it's not. Michigan State University, as I mentioned earlier, has suspended Coach Tucker without pay. He signed a $90 million contract a couple of years ago after having an 11-2 season, and he's got about 80 to 75 million left on that contract. And most people around this area, Tree and Tim, think he will not set foot in Spartan Stadium again unless he wants to buy a ticket and sit in the stands.
Yeah, that it is disappointing to hear, and I just think that you always want to make sure that you are survivors of sexual assault, and she had a horrific experience. That you want to make sure that you are thinking about those victims and making sure that they're protected. This is an unfortunate situation, and I'm sorry that happened. A lot of it is just, I keep thinking, Tim and I talked about it earlier, that, if you knowing her background, if the allegations are true, why would you enter into that? It's really just disappointing that would happen.
Yeah, it is. It's mind blowing. I mean, he signed a 10-year, $95 million contract. Okay, and he's got like you said, it's like 75 or 80,000 of it still left on there, and he would get all of that money were he to be fired for performance of the football team. But if it's because he is for cause, he'll get none of it. And he's got a wife and a couple of kids, and whatever it is, whatever his calculus was, it was this poor judgment all the way around. These are two adults, but from what I looked at, it doesn't seem like this was a relationship as much as it was something that guys usually do. It was something to the fact that she accepted gifts from him. and he took that to mean something else, or it somehow is an inference that he thought that the relationship was more than professional. And you can argue that she shouldn't have accepted anything from him and kept it pretty much. I'm doing a service here of educating your ball players on sexual harassment and what goes on with that. I mean, they're both sides can make arguments and make their points. It's just really unfortunate that it has come to this, because people don't look at this as an individual thing for Mel Tucker and whether or not he gets another job coaching, because other people who have had similar incidences have been able to get back in the game. I think of Bobby Petrino when he was at Arkansas, and he's on the motorcycle accident with some co-ed or something to that effect. And now I think he is an offensive coordinator at Texas A&M. And then you have Rick Pitino, and he has some issues in Louisville. And I think he's a head coach at a Big East program, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he's at Iona.
Iona? Is it Iona?
He may have just gone.
He moved from Iona to a bigger program.
Yeah, I'm going to look that up right quick. Yeah.
But, people are quick to dismiss things from other people, whereas Mel, this is his second head coaching gig. He used to be the head coach of Colorado, and before he came on to Michigan State. And to see that people look at him probably with a harsher lens than they would other people. And that's the thing you think about as well. And that it's just unfortunate that has happened. People make it seem as if she waited around for an opportunity to do this. And I think the crux of it is what even the impetus for even the complaint was that she was supposed to work, I think this past summer, do another workshop for the team, and it was postponed or called off until next year. And then when that happened, it seemed like that's when the allegations came forward, or something to that effect. If I'm getting the information correct.
That's what I read as well.
But it seemed, so he said, she said, and he said he had nothing to do. Supposedly said he had nothing to do with it being postponed. And then supposedly there was somebody who has him on the record as saying, "Yeah, I did it. I postponed it." And you want to know why it was postponed, and that's the thing. What happened to have this postponed? Because she's worked with them on past occasions, and what has happened since. So
there's a lot of unanswered questions, and people will be on both sides of it. But at the end of the day, I think it's very unfortunate and sad, for both parties. But we really don't know. We weren't there. We don't know the details of if there was or was not a relationship. So I think at this point, speculation until the facts, come out, or they have their investigation, which I understand that he's questioning the investigation from the university.
Yeah, calls it a sham. He calls it a sham.
Yeah, he calls it a sham. So I think that
he calls it a sham. I think because he knows that it's over.
Yeah,
this is just going through the motions here.
Right. I think it's step one. They're going to be suspended. What's the next step after
without
that?
pay? He's suspended too.
He's suspended without pay. Generally suspended with pay, and then it's like, okay, then you're out. And now it's going to be a lot of legal maneuvering because somebody's going to want to, I want to get some money out of this, but it's like, you did this. You did it.
If true, yes.
Yeah.
And
but
by the way,
he admitted that something happened.
He admitted something happened. You're correct.
I mean, he admitted to the phone sex act.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
And who's going to want him coming in there to recruit their kid as the head coach of Michigan State? And by the way, Rick Pitino is now the coach at St. John's.
Yeah, there you go. See, a major program. So people, they some folks get the rebound, and some people go off into obscurity. And I'm thinking of one guy. I'm thinking of Kevin Sumlin. I mean, he didn't have anything like this happen to him, but he was head coach of a major program, and then he had a similar record to Jimbo Fisher, and Fisher's been around forever.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like African American people are held to a higher standard.
But here's
We always are. We always are.
Oh, for sure. Here's one of the big deals that's going on here. You know, and Michigan State is the absolutely wrong place for that to happen. This is the home of Larry Nassar.
Yeah.
Who sexually assaulted Olympians,
Right.
and is in prison right now for that. And we are learning now, there's a story in the Detroit News this afternoon that MSU knew about this in December of last year.
Right.
And MSU leaders chose not to seek the details of the ongoing Tucker investigation. They could have looked and seen what was going on, why was this thing a thing, but they chose not to, and they were going to just let it play out until October. And the criticism coming from practically everybody in the community is that you can't afford to do that with the history that your university has on these matters.
But we had to wait to see how the football team is going to go. We had to see the team. We want to make sure the team is good or not.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing.
Which is probably why they, you know, just kind of like, we're just going to hang back for a minute and
Yeah.
just see how this plays out.
Yeah, had they gotten off to like an 0-3 start, it's like, yeah, let's look into this a little bit deeper here. Get him under this contract.
But of course, they should be thinking about any potential victims first, right? And so, just,
I think they've been thinking about protecting their behind.
Yeah,
always.
First and foremost. So we're going to keep our eye on this matter. It's really, you know, it's really disappointing to see, because Tucker had portrayed himself as a leader of men. That was one of the qualities that MSU liked about him when he came into the program. And to have this go down, I don't see him ever stepping foot in Spartan Stadium as a coach. Like I said, he'll have to get a ticket just like everybody else.
and that may even be a problem, because you see what happened with Oklahoma State, I believe, or Oklahoma. Art Briles, who was the head coach at Baylor when they had their own sex scandal thing down there. He's the son-in-law of one of the coaches for Oklahoma, and he was on the field, and everybody was like, "Why is this man in our stadium?"
Yeah.
you know,
You are unwanted here, sir. Yeah.
Exactly. The school president or the chancellor says, "Yeah, we talked to the folks there at the football program, and this won't happen again." So I mean, they don't want any kind of taint of any kind of impropriety, and that's what I think, especially at the Michigan State. You can, every coach there has to be a choir boy. Every player has to be a choir boy. You can't have any problems.
There's no room, none whatsoever. NASA used up all the deference you might ever get on those matters. Yeah. Well, let's. Well, anything else on this?
Oh no, I think that's it, because it's a horrific thing that overshadowed a really great weekend of major college football, especially over there in Colorado.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this cat last year and what he was doing in Jackson State. And of course, we're talking about Deion Sanders, who took over a 1-11 Colorado program, upset TCU week 1, backed that up last week with a decisive victory over their rival, Nebraska. And I heard Mel Kiper say the other day that Deion's son, Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback and the catalyst of that Colorado offense, will be a high draft pick if he decides to come out next year.
He looked good. He looked really good. I thought for a taste there that he might be overmatched in this game, but gosh, he showed some incredible poise. Just like that throw like that to Hunter over to the side. And then there's one where he was scrambling for his life, but he righted himself. He looked like Brady, and how Brady evades a pass rush. And Brady had been his mentor.
Yeah. And it's telling in how he's performing. So
Yeah.
I think, well, a lot of people may not have watched Colorado before. It's like, that's the
No.
game to watch.
No, yeah, I started my weekend off. Okay, let me see what time Colorado was playing.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I can honestly say I've never said that before.
Mhm.
Let me put my schedule around the Colorado Buffaloes to see what they're doing. But that's the magic Dion has brought to two programs now, Jackson State, and the impact he's had on HBCU football, and what he's doing at Colorado. I mean, look at that pass. I mean, Shador is so freaking accurate with that football.
And this is the one where I think he got in trouble for taking his helmet off. Well, no, that was late in the game when he scored. But I don't know if they could survive 11 or 12 weeks of grudges, because supposedly Bryles and riled up Shador in pregame, where the Colorado coach brought the team out on the Buffalo in the center of the field on the 50 there. And Shador didn't like that. They said they could have been anywhere else, but they decided to hold their meeting on top of the Buffalo. I mean, but who looks at stuff like that? I mean, unless you're looking for an edge. They did that. And also they said that the punter was kicking balls into the huddle, which is something I used to do.
Kicker.
I would like to do it just to upset them. I'd be at the other end of the field, but I would make sure that I'd hit the offense while they were doing stuff.
And how did that turn out for you, Tim, when that happened?
Was a great pass when he rolled out right there.
And how did it turn out for you and your team? How did that turn out?
We would win. It didn't matter. It just because I did it. I like to irritate people. But here you go. And they just look. They don't look afraid. This team does not look like the moment's too big for them. I thought that Dion was going to be a colossal flop.
You were on that. Did you really?
Oh, absolutely. I thought he was going to fail, because it's like you can't just have but 3 players from the team last year and bring a bunch of 1 AA players in there and expect to compete in a major conference. Come on, man.
Yeah, he's done it. And when you watch them play, they are well coached.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing with Dion, with all the flash and the bravado, his teams execute. So that's credit to Dion and the staff, and they're always pushing to get better. And there was one other thing: when Matt Rule got hired as the Nebraska coach, he took a shot at Dion and said, "Well, I won't have cameras following me around." And Shador took offense to that as well. So
you talking about my daddy?
Yeah,
I know. That's what we said. You talk about my pops, and so I'm like, we're not having that.
No. So they're learning a very valuable lesson. Leave daddy alone. Leave the Buffalo alone.
and Tree and Tim, I think this is just the beginning of this, because I think this guy is going to be able to recruit like crazy at Colorado or wherever he may end up. And he's for real. He is here to stay.
Well, you're saying that, and this is another thing where I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna quote an over-the-top crazy person, Skip Bayless. And I think it might be in the notes where Skip Bayless says that Dion would win several Super Bowls as head coach of the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think that was more of a clickbaitish type thing to say, but at the same time, would Dion work in the NFL? I think his stuff works better at a college level than people who are being paid larger sums than the college kids are.
I say don't underestimate them.
I've done it already.
Yeah, I was like, no, I just don't underestimate him. And I think go ahead and say that, Tim, because he and his kid will say, no, don't be talking about my pops. Right.
Keep my daddy name.
Not talking about my pops. He can do it. Yeah.
But see, the thing about Dion's method in college is that it is an ever-changing roster.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys cycle out, and they cycle out in the NFL, but your core guys will be there over a period of years. And it is very true that the message gets lost after a while.
Mm.
And I just think that he would have trouble sustaining that in the NFL.
I don't know. I think
Well,
the message,
But I won't
the
put
message
anything
not be,
back.
do you want to win?
yes.
You want to be a Super Bowl champ, or do you want to just be like, hey, I'm in the NFL? You know,
I
what
think
would
Rob,
be the message that they would not respond to, I guess?
well, Raw works only for so long. I've only seen one sustained program of excellence in the NFL, and their coach is exciting as beige wallpaper. Bill Belichick.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
He gives you nothing. He
I
gives
like
you
beige.
pardon.
I used to only wear beige at one
Yeah.
point.
And one of the things, Tree, in the NFL, it is a business, and then you have the business aspect of it. You look at Chris Jones and Nick Bosa, they held out of training camp. Bosa signed just before the Chargers played their first game. Chris Jones signed, thankfully, after the Chiefs played the Lions last week. So you get guys around there who aren't happy with their contracts and everything. And maybe Dion can handle that too. I don't put anything by this guy. He is a very impressive dude for sure. Again, he has a lot of substance to him. But those NFL things, 7 Super Bowls, hell, Belichick. But actually, he has 7 Super Bowls, but no, he has 6. But that would be a tall task.
But you mentioned the 2 contracts, but it's like, yeah, Bosa came in signing one of the richest contracts in the history of the league, and Jones comes in on a 1-year contract, and was it worth the holdout? And I think he fined something like $50,000 a day of camp that he missed.
Yeah.
To come in for a 1-year deal, and so it's a different aspect. And Bosa comes in, 49ers go out there and they just smoke Pittsburgh. Jones he's going to come in, and I don't know who the Chiefs play next week. We'll see what's up with him.
Oh, I think we got our friend Leland Stein on the line. Leland?
Hey, sorry, it's a little late, man. Please forgive me.
Better late than never. Now we can't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
But as an aside, Colorado has its greatest test of the season this week. They're at Oregon, so.
Colorado has Colorado State this weekend. I think Oregon's after them.
Hold up, I just looked at the week 4. Or week 3, let me look. You're right. Colorado State didn't. You're right.
Yeah. Then they got
a late game. Hopefully that'll be on television somewhere.
Leland, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know why my camera's not working.
But that's okay. That's okay. We of course we'll miss your handsome face lighting up the screen. Leland, I want to introduce our audience to Leland Stein. Outstanding sports writer, has covered I don't know how many Super Bowls and Olympic Games, the pride of Detroit, Michigan, and I just learned the other day, one hell of a basketball player, back in the day. I'm so impressed to hear that story, Leland. But man, we wanted to get you on here, and we'll go back and touch on this for a couple of minutes, because I know you're very close to the Michigan State program as an alumnus, right, and also as somebody that has covered that program for years. And we have been discussing, of course, Mel Tucker. We would love to hear your thoughts on this matter for a couple of minutes before we go into some other topics.
Okay. Yeah, you just want me to dive in?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I guess it's suffice to say I'm just so disappointed. You know, it's hard to be a journalist when it comes to Tucker. I mean, you know, Michigan State, I went to school there, and all my lifelong friends started there. And we had like a little black college back then coming off of, you know, them 60s. So it was something else. But it's been hard to really deal with it because we've been fighting to get black coaches over the years. That's been a battle. And y'all all know that. Everybody know that battle. And then here we are. He has the opportunity of a lifetime. I mean, he got the contract. They finally invested in a brother. We have a black AD. That's gonna hurt him too. It put him under the microscope. I mean, so it's a disappointment. It's more than just him. It's just the whole disappointment from the Spartan family is profound because we were really. He had the backing of the black community like you wouldn't believe here in this whole Metro Detroit area, and to see him fall so gracefully, it's kind of really disappointing, disheartening as alumnus, and just, you know, always rooting for the black athlete and the black coaching over the years. You know, it just hate to see that kind of stuff happen to him. But you know, he really didn't do nothing. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I take that back. He's contesting that they knew each other really well, and he didn't grab her. They didn't have no sexual relation. See, now here we go again. Did you do it? Didn't you do it? But that's where he's at. So I'm not taking his side. Please don't take that. This is his defense. So, because he's standing firm. You know, I don't know if it's right or wrong. I don't know how you win. When they throw the word harassment out there, no matter what, even if you was just on the phone, you know, like my wife said, why didn't you just hang up the phone? I mean, I don't know, baby, it ain't that easy. I don't have the answers. I don't even understand, you know, the whole situation. That's why I haven't buried him yet. I'm just kind of waiting to see how things really facts come out beyond all the noise. Because it's sensationalism. Use the word masturbation. We ain't never had that come out in sex scandals. I don't think.
You're right. Yeah.
It's always been more straightforward to all the mess that the politicians and everybody else been doing all over the years. But this situation is a little different. I mean, I don't know if it's different. They weren't physical interacting.
Hey, Leland.
Yeah.
What do you see the university's culpability or how they have handled this, being that they knew about it back in December?
Well, they were investigating it because it's contested. I know because it popped out, everybody wanted like, why did y'all get on firing right there? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Leland, this is Tree.
Yes.
So I know there's a lot of talk about the coach, but what are people saying there about the woman that's made the accusation? What are people saying about her?
Well, initially, everybody's on her side, including me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, you get the word harassment out there, and then even her job, it's just bad judgment on Tucker's part to even engage with her, period. Considering who she was and what she was doing, I don't know, even if it's two-sided, men can't win at all, especially all the mess been going on, and they probably shouldn't win because men have abused their power for so long that if they get on the chin sometime, maybe they have to take it. But you know, they've always been a mess, and you know, so the women, it's their time. You know, so when that word is put out there, you can't get that genie back in the bottle. And so I think most of the people around here, Trey, is really, especially us, we're just disappointed in his judgment and the stupidity of it all. And then he married, his wife is the bomb, a beautiful person. You know, that whole scenario, it's kind of heartbreaking for all of us around here. You're right. Now, the lady, nobody's jumping out there getting her yet. You know, Tucker just came out with this information to defend himself. So
Yeah, today. Yeah.
yeah,
And his wife is an attorney also.
yes, she is.
And by the way, the interim coach for the rest of the year at Michigan State will be Harlan Barnett.
Very happy about that.
Yeah, African American,
Oh yeah,
longtime Michigan State
closer
guy.
to the program than Tucker. You know, Tucker was import, but being an import is not bad. I don't even think that because Bo Schembechler was an import, right?
That's right.
From Ohio, but he's a Michigan man, and so is Dave Bean. So yeah, we'll see how that works. But I don't know. Should they fire a man that they never touched or went out or kissed or did anything? And if we see the phone, the call was late at night, and she took the call and they was talking. I can't believe he just did that. I mean, I could be wrong. If he did, I don't know. It's just weird to me, the whole situation, actually.
Yeah.
But this generation, I suppose, this is how they function with each other a little bit, more than us old farts, you know? See, I'm 70, Tim. You ain't old as I am. So I don't, when I saw it hurt, I said, why would you do something like that? You know? But my nephew and my nieces and them, they was checking me on such a strong stand against it.
Hey, we got one last thing on this,
Yeah.
Leland. Do you think there's any chance he can save his job at Michigan State?
Well, the only way that would happen, that's why they haven't fired him yet. Maybe, I'm guessing, is because maybe the phone records and it was late at night and he didn't touch her. I don't know, man. You get fired for masturbating? I don't know. It's embarrassing more than anything else. It's embarrassing to the university and everybody else, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And this guy has 2 teenage kids, man.
That's the whole point. And you got to keep hearing that. That's like getting slapped,
Yeah.
you know, like Chris Rock did. Forever, these kids got to hear that nonsense.
I don't feel bad for his stupidity. I do feel bad for those kids who are going to catch it. I mean,
now, Leland, my question to you is now, because of the Nasser stuff, do you think that's why they're going to come down a lot harder on Mel?
Of course. Yeah. There's almost no tolerance up there because of that. And that's why D'Antoni left, who was the most successful coach we've had there, probably since Duffy Doherty. And
that's the name.
Yeah, because he won us a Rose Bowl and Big Ten championship, took us to the national title. So people don't like that. I don't know why they hate on that personally, and they brought him back to kind of assist Barnett with the overall structure of being a head coach, which I think it's a good idea. Now, other folk around here, Tim, they saying, well, forget that until he left on a bad note. But D'Antoni left under the Nasser thing, like you was mentioning, and that was just brutal for the university, for everybody, man. That whole situation was horrible.
Hey, Leland, Michigan State went out to Colorado to get Mel Tucker.
Yeah, they did.
From Colorado State. There's another pretty good coach out in Colorado. What are your thoughts on what Deion has done? His whole impact on college football the last few years.
Well, I guess he's bigger than life. He told us years ago, Rick, when you was covering him, Deion. He ain't changed at all. He's still Deion. And the kids they feeling it, especially this generation of idolatry and reality TV. Everything is just so out there, and people seem to like it. rather than it not being bad. And he's that kind of guy. Dion, he's something else, boy. He can gamble, but he's a great coach, though, isn't he? He's a great
Yeah,
coach.
we've been so impressed with his teams and the way they play. They are fundamentally sound
Yeah.
teams. And Tim, what is it Dion says? Don't let my confidence.
Don't let my confidence upset your insecurities.
You know, I like what his son said too, Tim. He said after that TCU game, they told me, "Oh, everybody hating on the HBCUs, but I never threw for 500 yards."
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But hey, that's a great segue to another topic. We were about to talk about some of the HBCU games over the weekend, and we've had this conversation before, Leland, and it's just heartbreaking when I see proud programs like Grambling get beat 72-10 by LSU. I know they need that game check. And I know if maybe if Grambling alumni gave more, maybe they wouldn't have to play those games. But, you know, there was a time Grambling would have stood toe-to-toe with. But
yes, they would.
What do you think about that, the money games that the HBCUs
it's embarrassing, isn't it? We wouldn't. Why would you play it? I don't know. To get beat 70, I don't see no redeeming value as a coach to your team to do that, to subject your team to that. Even the money they give you. But Rick, you know, you from down there, you've been with HBCUs. It's deeper than that. They're getting squeezed by the states and everything else. So that's why funding and all the money ain't gonna never get funneled to them like it should be.
Absolutely right about that.
I mean, look what Brett Favre did, Mississippi State. They just took some money over here, just build a volleyball thing. I mean, they've been doing that for 1 million years. Like I said, and we stuck down there in these little areas. Well, they did the best we can what they had to work with, but it ain't gonna never be like that, ever. Our predominantly white universities have never had the money in the endowments. So it's sad, you know. 'Cause all 3 of my kids went to HBCU, so I feel like I could speak that because I'm vested in it. I should be getting something for the HBCUs after doing that, because you know they don't give the financial aid like some of the other schools do. But
yeah, I've mentioned this before on this show. In the state of Tennessee owes Tennessee State $500 million
oh no, man,
of appropriations that they hadn't paid to them over the years. So you know that there you go right there. Tim and Tree, any thoughts for questions for Leland?
I don't. I'm glad he was able to give us a little bit of his thoughts on the situation. I know it's a difficult conversation to have when you're thinking about, you know, potential victims and people who are alleged. And so, you know, we don't have all the information yet. And I think that we are best served by not speculating, but waiting until we have some firm information. But I do appreciate him being here and to share his feedback and what the feeling and the sense in the community is. And I agree that it's good that there's another African-American coach who can step into that role. And it is an unfortunate situation for all parties involved, for sure.
And that's the thing. Lansing is rarely mentioned when you talk about Michigan. It's always over there in Ann Arbor. Lansing only one time, and that's like you got Draymond. That's it. Draymond and bad news in Lansing. So the sense of what people are talking about over there is a welcome departure.
Yes. So.
Hey guys, this hour has really flown by us. The huge news in the National Football League was the injury to Aaron Rodgers last night. 4 plays into his season, he went out with a Achilles tear, injury, whatever it is, it's going to cost them the rest of the year. Some of the players were complaining about the turf. I remember some of the Lions players complaining about that turf there when they went up there last fall. And Leland, I know you cover the NFL, you cover the Lions, and you've done, I don't know, what, 30 Super Bowls now?
It don't seem real.
Yeah. Your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and any chance of him coming back at 39?
Oh, man. Kobe came back. Didn't think he was going to come back. But, you know, he was crazy dog determined. I don't even know if Rodgers has that determination because the Achilles is a tough one to come back from. One of the tough ones, right, Tim?
Yeah.
Trey, I think it is.
And the thing about these non-contact injuries like that, when you see them happen, it's like, oh gosh.
No, his foot got caught under the guy's leg.
Well, yeah,
It
but
was a
it
freak accident.
wasn't like it was a major hit or anything. It just got
just a regular tackle.
Yeah, but he went forward. His heel was caught under his knee, that dude's knee.
And you
It
look at it,
stayed there.
he's a
His
second
body went forward and his foot stayed.
He was the second oldest cat in the league, and it's like
Yeah.
old people just get old. And,
But I don't think.
man.
But I don't think that's how you want to go out. You know, I've heard people say, "Does he want to come back? Does he want to go out?" But it's important for him to, you know, be in the ear of the quarterback who's going to fill in for him. How does he help that? Then I also heard about potential trades, right?
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, can you be there to kind of help them along?
Right. Well, people said he's done that already during training camp. Has given what's the kid's name? Wilson has given him a boost of confidence and a shot in the arm from just being around him. And
well, he
learning
was
from
good last night for sure.
Yeah, he came through. After he
He
threw that
came through.
interception, he didn't fold the 10 in.
I mean, it's like who had 4 turnovers? The Allen had three interceptions and a lost fumble.
Right.
He was absolutely horrendous, and
That was bad, wasn't it?
Granted, you know, the leg whip on the punt return withstanding, they would have kicked the field goal and won the game regardless, even if they didn't call it a touchdown. Because that last block, the last dude threw his leg out there and tripped the cat up, as opposed to getting them blocked. So it was a good game. I'm not a Jets fan.
Electrifying ending.
Absolutely.
He took that punt. They looked like me.
I was so happy for that kid, you know. It was a great ending.
He said happy for the kid. I mean, yeah, he seems like he was a good story.
Yeah, he just signed. A few days ago.
Guy.
And I think they said when he called his mom, she was like, what, a car wash or something?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, you know, football is like you get a lot of stories like that because football is that kind of sport like boxing. You got to want to get out of somewhere to play it hard and to really want it, you know, for the majority of the people.
But, you know, only person feeling worse about Rodgers' injury is the Packers. Because I understand if he played 70% of the snaps this year, they'd have gotten a high draft pick or a first round pick.
Oh yeah.
From the Jets. So you know they're not happy about it at all.
No.
And
I wanted to see him play. It would have been more fun.
I would love to have seen him play too. I thought for sure I went to go get something in another room, and I come back and Zach Wilson quarterback.
Yeah, man. You never wish that on anybody. I tell you. Hey Leland, you know, people here in Detroit have gone crazy over the Lions. They're sold out. They open at home Sunday. It's going to be crazy there. But you know what? I cover that team and I watch that team. I have very little trust in that team. But when I watched the offensive line, which I knew was good, but the defensive line and the guys they are running in on that defensive line, man, they are a very physical team. This thing can be real, Leland.
Yeah. But I'm like you, Rick. After 20 years of watching that tragedy happening over there, especially after Caldwell got unceremoniously booted out the door for no reason. They've been horrendous ever since, man. It's been terrible. So it's hard to really believe it until I see, I know I sound terrible, but it's the truth with the line.
No, that's hey, bro. In Detroit,
They got to give me some
that's
proof in the
approach it.
pudding over some time.
They're not using Gibbs right. Yeah.
Well, not yet. We'll see. They used him in the preseason. He looked pretty good.
Yeah, preseason, but they need to start using him more effectively.
They will.
He came through for us, though. He came through against Kansas City.
Yeah, but for very selfish reasons, he's one of my starting running backs of my family.
No wonder.
Well, Tim in luck. He said he's going to give him more carries this week. More
That's
touches.
what I need to hear.
They
Because
wanted to break him in slowly. Speaking of guys, the move Bijan Robinson had.
that's what the deal. Those are my two starting running backs, Bijan and Tremere. So at least one of them gave me a good game. But I'm like, come on now, you got to help a brother out.
So I invested it with your fantasy team. I'll leave it up to you. Yeah.
Any early thoughts on the season, Leland?
Oh man, it's like it always is, especially nowadays without so many people talking, that it seems to be an over exaggeration of everything. A loss. They said that two of the teams that was in the Final Four last year lost the first game of the season last year. So how really big is it, that first game? I mean, it's big. You always want to win in football. Football, the coaches always say, man, it's hard to win. But yeah, it is hard to win. And so a win is always good.
It's like 10 road teams won.
Right. That's crazy, Tim, ain't it?
And 49ers blew out the Steelers at home. And it's like, granted, I mean, 49ers have a good roster, but you didn't expect Tomlin's team to get crushed like that. And who knows what happened with the Giants. I mean, that 40-0, it does my heart good since I'm not a New York team fan. So it was great to see that. But nonetheless, you don't expect that kind of to be skunked like that with the talent that they have, too.
Yeah, that's true. That was kind of weird, wasn't it? Seeing the Giants get smothered. I don't know. But see, the Lions won, so how much, you can't get too excited, can you?
Well, I'm sure you talk about losing one game. I'm sure they're not panicking in Kansas City.
No.
Because they lost one game because they got number 15 back there.
Right.
He is an extraordinary.
They got Tony, the hands of stone.
Yeah.
Hands of stone.
And one final note, I think Tim sent me the note on this. Opening weekend, we had 16 black quarterbacks starting in the NFL, Leland.
Oh, my God.
The black quarterback has most definitely arrived in the National Football League.
It's so weird, Tim and Trey. When I first started writing about this in L.A., for the L.A. sitting on the Black Voice News, all my articles was about the lack of black quarterbacks and coaches and trainers. We was pushing the sports envelope. And now at 16, it's kind of weird, isn't it? That really there's some progress, especially in a world that produces a Trump. Do you think we ain't did nothing?
Hey, Leland.
Yeah.
Weren't you out in L.A. when the Williams sisters were coming up as kids?
Yeah, of course.
Could you see what they were going to do coming? And quickly give us your thoughts on Coco Gauff winning the U.S. Open.
Well, quickly, that's one of the advantages of working with the black press, I guess, because Mr. Williams came over to the L.A. Sentinel and asked us to come see him. They was only about 14.
No, he wouldn't do that.
That's what he did.
I believe you.
Yeah, he really did. So that's the first time I saw them girls, and they was over there at the courts a little south of Compton, up near Signal Hill. But anyway, to see Coco, oh my God. I love tennis because of all that time in LA. We had the Williams sisters coming up, and even Malachi Washington was playing a little bit. Oh, you remember that, huh? I know about tennis now. and Blake was in and out a little bit. So there was a couple brothers in and out, but the women, you know, so, but it just shows you how great Venus and Serena is and what their dad did. And Coco's dad mirrored it a little bit. He didn't give them away to those academies when they was 12 and 13 and let them just play on that little circuit. They played 50 tournaments when they 13, 14 years playing in that circuit they got. And he wouldn't let them do it. And they didn't burn out as quick as all them other girls that they played with over the last 20 years. You know, there's been 100 of them that have been gone. So Coco kind of mirrored that a little bit, you know, with her father and her family. And she's a bad girl. Wasn't that wonderful to see her with that? I mean, really.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
Yes.
man. God. But see, the men can't win. For some reason, black men just can't crack through tennis.
Well,
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah,
Still
'cause
up.
Well, yep. I'll say yet. Yeah, I hope so.
it
too.
is an era of some great players at the top
Oh.
also. But hey, no, go ahead. Final thought.
Well, they're all playing basketball and football. If we play some other sports, we might be able to do better at them. Now, see, the women don't have those pro sports like that, so they put more effort into softball, gymnastics, and look what they're doing, and even tennis.
Yeah.
You know, really, because they take those sports a lot more serious because they can take them farther. You know, at least you can go to college, get scholarships, and you can do it internationally, even if you don't get paid like all the brothers shooting after the NBA and the NFL. You know, they can't see nothing else.
True.
It's kind of sad, but it is what it is.
True.
Hey, well, we got to get out of here. Leland, how can people read your work, man?
You can go to LEL Stein 3, and stuff will pop up, I think. No, look, it's
We'll
bad.
find you. We'll find you, sir.
He's such an old pro. It's like whatever. Just
No,
just
look,
throwing it out there.
Just look me up.
25 years of our first writing, you have to go to the library to see it. Shoot. Because, you know, the black press that stuff wasn't getting online as quick as it did through the white press.
Yeah.
We was about 8 to 10 years behind. I mean, that's sad, but it's the truth. You know?
Yeah.
At least that stuff being accessed that easily. You know, those old things, you know, so hey.
Well, we're gonna get out of here. Hey, Leland, thank you for popping in, man.
All right, brother.
And giving us your perspective. I want to thank everybody for tuning in here on our YouTube African American Athlete Network. I want to thank our co-hosts, Tim Turner and Tree McDougal, and I'm Rickey Hampton.
All right. Be kind, everybody.
Love that hair, Tree.
Oh, thank you, sir. I didn't know you could see us.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good night.
Take care.